Well, Youest You listeners, oh my gosh, so excited, so flipping excited. First of all, these two women, I already love them. We've just been chatting a little bit. You're going to get to hear from them now. So, Dana and Shayna, Shayna and Dana, I'm going to just do both the whole time. So happy that you are here. Thank you for being on the Youest You show. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having us. We're so excited to be here.
All right, we are going to just dive into all things human design. I want to just share, and as those who are listening have heard from the bio, you also have an amazing book, Your Human Design. I know that you are both, this is an expertise, gifts that you have are around really understanding and unpacking human design. And I think maybe we just start because I know some people here might know what that is. Others might be like, I have no idea. I've heard of it. And I'm sure there are a few that are versed in it, but let's like level set and kind of talk about what is human design, what got you into the world of human design, and then we can go from there.
Yeah, totally. So, human design is the science of differentiation. It's a modality that was created by a man named Ra Aruhu in the late 80s. And it's this system that's a synthesis of ancient modalities and modern sciences all coming together to really show you how your unique energy is designed to operate. So, it's a synthesis of these ancient modalities, including Western astrology, the Chinese I Ching, the Kabbalah tree of life, and the chakra system. So it's all of these ancient systems coming together to give you a detailed blueprint of this is how your energy works and this is how you operate your energy moment to moment so that you really come into personal alignment. So human design is this tool to help you understand who are you as a unique being? What is going to feel authentic and aligned for you? And how do you navigate life from that place of authenticity so that you truly align with your purpose? So Shayna and I discovered human design when we were both, working corporate jobs. We went to college together. We've been besties forever. And we felt like we kind of followed all of the rules that society laid out for us to have a successful life. Went to college, graduated, got these corporate jobs. We're climbing the corporate ladder. And then both of us around age 27, when we moved into our Saturn return, which is this kind of astrological transit that everyone experiences from around age 27 to 30, when we got to that time, we just had this feeling of complete exhaustion, like these corporate careers that we had really tried to fit into and we thought we would find success there. It just was this overwhelming feeling of, I don't feel like myself. I feel like this is not it. I feel like I'm not really getting to show up with my true gifts. And I just feel completely exhausted. So, in that kind of dark night of the soul, we turned to learning more about ourselves. Like, if this is not who I am, then who am I? And in that process, we were learning more about meditation and breath work and astrology. And that process led us to find human design. And once we found human design and looked up our birth chart information, we discovered that we were both projectors, which out of the 5 human design types is one of the more rare types. And literally, that moment was such a quantum shift in our life path. It was like everything that we had been feeling and experiencing suddenly clicked into gear. It suddenly made sense. And, it made sense why we felt so exhausted working these corporate careers. It made sense why, as best friends, we had always resonated with each other so much because we had the same unique type. So, discovering human design, it literally completely transformed our life path. And it led us eventually down the path of being able to teach human design to other people and create a whole business around offerings to help other people understand their unique energy.
Oh my gosh. So it's really powerful what you're saying. And I'm hearing like underneath it, we're going to dive into this, is the importance of understanding your energy. There are 5 types, which we'll go into. I believe in this 100%. And it sounds like for both of you, starting to feel depleted in your corporate day jobs, it's like something was off. And really, these teachings, which I love the different ancient modalities that are woven in, that you really could see, oh, my energy is not aligned with the work that I'm in. And I know there are listeners, I get notes and messages and emails all the time from so many, mainly women, sometimes some men too, but a lot of women that are feeling like something's off, like I'm exhausted, I'm depleted. And so This is such a powerful system. I One of the reasons, I mean, I love both of you and what you're up to, and the idea of being your Youest You. Part of that is understanding who you are and your energy. So I just love that you're bringing that here, and how you've literally, it sounds like, shifted your whole life by tapping into your human design.
Yeah. And I mean, I really felt the messaging from a young age of be yourself, be yourself, go out there and be yourself. Literally everything in our media and in our society telling you to be yourself. But I felt like, okay, cool, but who am I? And how? How do I be myself? Who am I in relation to other people? And comparing myself to others. That was kind of the way that I could try to sift through who am I? Like, oh, am I like this person? Am I like them? Am I like my boss or my parents or my sisters or my friends? And it was kind of, it felt like fumbling through the dark, right? And ending up feeling exhausted and lost. And that feeling of this just isn't it. Why? Why is this not it? And also the feeling of dread going to work every day and then at work counting down the hours. Like I literally got everything I needed to get done, but I have to just sit here until 5. Why? Like it just felt this. And I think that a lot of people can resonate with that feeling, right? Of either not knowing who they are or having a job where they just feel like this isn't it and I don't know why. And human design, the magic of it and the power of it is that it gives you such specific languaging to say, this is who you are. This is how your energy operates. This is what your gifts are, what your purpose is. This is how you, as a unique individual, make decisions that are aligned for you energetically. And once you hear this information, it's kind of this soul resonant feeling of that's everything I've ever felt. I just didn't have the languaging to put to it. And then you get to experiment with it and lean into the practices. So that's one of the awesome things about human design. It's not like astrology where it's just telling you, these archetypes that you could be and do you resonate with it. It's very specific of here's how your energy operates. Here's how you can practice this and experiment and see how did that feel? Did you feel like today was easier or it things worked out or you had less resistance or you were happier or you felt seen and understood? Did you feel the impact of leaning into your design? And ultimately, that's what human design is teaching you is how to work with your energy versus against it, how to
Mm.
navigate life with purpose and awareness versus fumbling through the dark and trying to just figure it out and ending up feeling judged or comparing yourself constantly to others, or resentment even. So it's a game changer. And I think that when a lot of people learn about their human design, it starts with, oh my gosh, how can I get all of the information as much as I possibly can? And it stays in this very mental place of, okay, I want to learn all the things. But the magic really comes in human design through experimenting and saying, okay, let me feel this in my body. Let me really start practicing this. And that's when you start seeing your life dramatically change. Just like for Dana and I, we decided, okay, for 1 month, we're going to practice our human design and see what happens. And literally everything in our life changed. And it's just been going since then. And it's crazy. So it sounds too good to be true, but honestly, we've met with thousands and thousands of people at this point from all walks of life, and every single time the same message is I wish I knew this when I was younger. I wish I knew this in my 20s. I wish that I had these tools to navigate my life because it would have just made things so much easier.
Mm. Uh, you know, this idea that it's the too good to be true, I'm putting air quotes around that, is, in a way, I'm thinking as you're saying that, we're all made of energy. I mean, we know that everything is energy. So why wouldn't it also be that our system, our body, mind, spirit, our meridians, the aspects of us that are just beyond, what you're seeing, why wouldn't that also be connected to energy systems? Like it actually makes a lot of sense. I think, and hopefully this is changing with what you're doing. To me, I'm like, gosh, why didn't we learn this, growing up? Like this would have been so cool. right? To like have had an extra class. I could even see in like junior high or high school when you're like, what the heck? Who am I now? Like what? Like to understand, oh, it's my energy. That's why it's, this is how I'm designed. This is how I'm wired. To me, it's like there's a treasure here to unlock. And let's talk about the 5 types. I know that you mentioned you're both projectors. That is a rare type. And for those listening who are like, what's a projector? Like, what are these? Maybe to just get into the basics of the 5 types, and then what you've really, what you've learned about each of these types. And if you know the stats on it, I think that would be interesting. Like, how much of the population are this type? That would be great.
Yeah, so there's 5 main human design types, and every person is one of the 5 types. So if you're listening, we encourage you to pause this and to run your human design chart real quick to see which one you are as you're listening along. And the way that you do that, you can go to our website if you want, daylunalife.com, and enter in your birthday and specific time information. And then you'll generate your chart for free there. And when you pull up your chart, it's this body graph with all of these numbers and shapes and arrows. And it can be like, oh my gosh, what does all of this mean? But what we want you to look at is those written categories. You'll see your name, you'll see your type. And then next to your type, you'll either be a manifester, a generator, a manifesting generator, a projector, or a reflector. So those are the 5 types that everyone falls into those categories of. And this is the most broad kind of category within human design. After this, it gets much more specific, getting into how you can use your intuition to make aligned decisions, getting into what your gifts are, what your life purpose is, even talking about your energetic digestion and the environment that's going to be the most nurturing for you to be in. But just focusing on this broadest category type is enough to radically change your life. Like Shayna and I said, when we discovered that we were projectors, it set us on this whole new trajectory. So this is by far the best place to start. And as a manifester, if you're a manifester, you're less than 10% of the population. So manifestors are really rare. And these are people who have this really powerful aura that's here to initiate, impact, and inspire. So these are kind of like the fire starters, but they don't have consistent energy to finish everything they start. So really following their strategy of informing, letting people know what it is that they're wanting to do, what they're thinking, what they're wanting to move on from. That's the way that they eliminate resistance and kind of create more harmony with this powerful fire starting aura that they have. So the next type would be generators. Generators are more common. They're more than 35% of the population. And generators have this aura that is very energetic. They have this open and enveloping quality. So generators are here to use their creative life force energy to build what they love. So these are individuals who have sustainable amount of energy, but only if they're doing what they love. And so many people that are generators have been taught that it's impossible for them to really do what they love and be successful. So they end up sacrificing their powerful creative energy, doing something that is not lighting them up. And that actually drains this powerful energy force that they have. So their strategy to help them really come into alignment is called responding, using their body's response to the things around them to indicate what's in alignment for them to use their energy on. So listening to their body, not their mind, to tell them what is aligned for them to use their creative energy on. Now, the next type, manifesting generators, are kind of like a hybrid of those first 2 types. And this is about over 30% of the population too. So this is what you are, Julie. A manifesting generator, or a man-gen, as we call them for short, they have this surplus of creative life force energy. They're here to do what they love. When they're doing what they love, they have so much energy. They can really do things and accomplish them and start things because they have this impactful, inspiring, fire starter kind of energy, the way a manifester would. So the big difference between a generator and a manifesting generator is that manifesting generators are going to want to be have a lot more variety and diversity in the way that they're using their energy. They might have a couple different careers going at once, or, a couple different ways of using their energy in one day. Whereas a generator is a bit more singular in their focus. They're really wanting to master one thing over time. A manifesting generator can be like a jack of all trades. They're really efficient and they get bored easily. So the strategy for manifesting generators is also responding, listening to your body's response with energy of what you're wanting to use your energy on or not. And then also informing, because you can change your mind so quickly, because you're so multifaceted, just letting people in on what you're thinking, what you're doing, what you're wanting to create creates a lot more room for harmony and acceptance instead of that energetic resistance. So, with what you've heard about being a manifesting generator, does all of that align with you?
I just like laughing my head off right now. And I encourage everyone to do this. Take the free design from your site and do that. I just hearing you, I'm like, oh, good Lord. Yeah. I mean, I always say this amount of energy that is like in me when it's aligned and when I love what I'm doing is insane how much it feels like it's just continuously replenished. It does it. Like I have to put boundaries. Otherwise, I get a lot of energy that seems to keep coming. And this like having different things that I love is huge. And I have to, I always joke, as someone with former addiction tendencies, like I have to be careful. I want to eat everything on the table. And it's like, you cannot digest every meal. Like you on a buffet, you got to choose. And the responding, I'm like, oh yeah. Like, what is
Mhm.
my body saying? So this is spot on.
I
Yeah.
love it. That's so cool. Yes. And so the next two types, projectors, is what Shayna and I are. Less than 20% of the population are projectors. So are a bit more rare, but not as rare as manifestors. And projectors are people who are here to guide the energy use of others. So they do not
Mm.
have a consistent amount of energy to do or to build or to create. They have an inconsistent amount of energy, but their aura is really designed to see into the other and to guide others towards finding more authenticity and more efficiency. So for projectors, if they're trying to work, and they think they're a man gen, which a lot of projectors do because of our conditioning, they can get extremely burnt out over time and experience a lot of health kind of dis-ease happening because of that. So as a projector, it's about working less, working more efficiently, and really focusing on the fact that your greatest value is sharing your insight, sharing what you see, sharing your guidance, instead of putting that emphasis on what you're able to do with your energy. So, the strategy that helps projectors is waiting for the invitation before you give someone your advice, your guidance, or your insight. So, this is kind of like waiting for energetic consent. Because if a projector tries to guide someone before they were wanting that guidance or open to that guidance, it can be really repelling and it can leave both people, both parties, feeling really kind of bitter and repelled and off. So for projectors, focusing more on your insight, focusing on working less and waiting for other people to recognize you and invite in your guidance, that's the way you eliminate that resistance and kind of move into more harmony. And then the last type, reflectors, are only 1% of the population. So they're like our human design unicorns, and they have a very special role. Their energy is designed to be extremely empathetic. All of their energy centers are designed to be taking in the energy of the people in the world around them and then experiencing and amplifying that energy. So they literally take in and reflect the energy around them. Their energy is designed to be like this chameleon. And every day, every space they go into, every new moment, they're reflecting something new. So they have this potential to experience and be everything, and then also clear out and experience being nothing. And so for a reflector, they have this kind of sacred purpose of being this temperature gauge. They can take in other people and discern, is this person healthy and authentic? Is this group or collective or community healthy and authentic or not? And they're going to really see that reflected in their own physical body. So if a reflector's living in an environment that's not healthy and not authentic and disharmonious, they're going to be experiencing those effects in their own physical body. And the opposite is also true. So as a reflector, their strategy is to wait a 28-day lunar cycle before making a big decision. So reflectors are the only type that are extremely connected to the moon. They're like these lunar beings when all of the other types are more solar beings. So for them, it's about slowing down and giving themselves an entire month to really feel everything they're going to feel, to shape shift into all the new things that they become so they can really find their clarity. And that really helps them live as their true self instead of living as kind of like a skewed version of all of the energies that they're taking in. So out of all of those 5 types, manifestors being the ones that are here to initiate, generators and man-gens being the one that are here to build and use their creative life force energy creating, projectors are here to guide that energy use of all the other types, and then reflectors are here to gauge how everything is going as a whole. Are we all healthy and authentic and harmonious or not? So we all have these kind of roles to play. And together we're like this puzzle piece that makes the whole really fit. And while this part of your human design is so impactful, like practicing that strategy can literally change your life. Even though this is so important, it's important to know that there's other things besides this that will tell you more specifically what your gifts are. So not, you could be a generator or a manifesting generator. That's a guide or that's a life coach, but it's just knowing that you're wanting to use your strategy to kind of help you move into that position in a way that's aligned for you. So a generator life coach would approach that situation very differently than a projector life coach.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's really, go ahead, Shayna, please add. Yeah, that's so
No,
helpful.
yeah, I was just going to say that, all of the types can be business owners. All of the types can, be guides. It really is not meant to put you in a box. It's just telling you, okay, you're wanting to do this. Here's how you go about approaching it in a way that's going to work with your energy. So that way, instead of feeling like you're pushing a boulder uphill or swimming upstream, you're going with the flow of your energy, with the current of the things that you're doing. So it's really a liberating system versus boxing you in and saying, "Oh, you have to guide or you can't initiate." It's saying, "Okay, you want to do this? Here's how," in the way that's going to work best for you.
Very well said. I was going to say, because, as I was listening, I'm like, wow, I actually, just personally, as I'm listening, I'm going to invite everyone, all my beautiful listeners, like, think about yourself, right? And even if you haven't taken it yet, like, where do you think you might fit in? And as you were explaining the reflector, the projector, I mean, I was like, oh, I really resonate with a lot of what you were saying, even with the reflector a little bit, to be honest, a bit of
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing we can have other aspects within us. Obviously, there's just a dominant, because I'm like, I actually
Yeah.
relate a
Yes.
lot of this reflector, what you're saying, and that's not my dominant. But anyhow, yes.
So, yeah, to add to that, all of us when you look at your human design chart, it has all of these shapes and numbers and lines and um colors. And so there's different places where we're empathetic and we're taking in other people and amplifying them. And that's similar to a reflector where you're taking in someone in that specific center. So for you, it's with your G center. You're really able to take people in and see their highest path, see, give them advice that's really going to land for them, really be able to identify with that person and help them along their mission, becoming their full self. So that is very reflector energy, if you will. And we all have that. We all have places where we're taking in others. Maybe that's with your emotions. Maybe that's with how, your perspective and being able to see what other people are thinking, or if people are sick or toxic or healthy. So we all have this capacity for empathy in different ways. And then you also have projected channels, and that's getting really deep into your human design chart. But these are areas where you're here to guide and where you're here to
Mhm.
kind of be invited in by people to then help them tweak and make changes and corrections and make things better. So regardless of your type, right? You can have projected channels where you feel like a projector, and but for you ultimately it's okay. You're here to guide, you're here to help people along their path. You're here to um share what you see is needed to help them make things better. And the way that you go about doing it is by being really present, listening to your body, tuning into that energy or that feeling of drudging through the mud. Because for you, your body's always guiding you towards divine timing, being in the right place at the right time to say that right thing with that right person. And listening to your body is always going to kind of give you the most bang for your buck versus like, oh, I should do this thing. So now I'm drudging through the mud doing it. And now my insight or my guidance, it's not really landing because it just wasn't a right fit in this present moment.
Oh, thank you. Both going into just what I just resonate with that. And I'm thinking for anyone doing this is the thing. One of the things I notice, and I am by no means an expert, I learned enough, just dabbled because was also doing a lot of seeking, Dana and Shayna. Like for me, I did not realize how much my body was speaking to me. And I believe we all have intuition and inner wisdom. However, I think for some of us, that is like, it is everything. And there are points in my life where I did not listen. And it was very clear, not that I believe necessarily anything is a mistake. I think we learn and pivot. But some major shifts that came out of realizing I was not paying attention. And so just to kind of support what you're saying, this modality, it is so powerful because it's helped me. Like I just know I will wait until I feel it in my body. There is a little bit of waiting to respond until I hear myself make I even have a sound I've realized as part of my, like, I say this, like I just, so for all of us, here today listening, this is so deep. And I know, when you do your chart, there are these like squares and triangles and some with different colors. And there's like the numbers do you guys mind going a little bit into that as well? Like the numbers and the different, I forget what it's called, but when you're frustrated, it looks like this. Like there's there's a lot more to it, I know.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's so many layers to human design and it's so complex, which is one of the reasons we love it because we don't connect with any system that feels like it's limiting you or boxing you in or generalizing you. And the deeper you get into human design, you realize how incredibly specific it is. Like there is no two people that have the exact same human design chart, just like we each have our own unique blueprints on our own fingerprints. We have the same unique energetic blueprint. So that's what we love about it, but we know it's complex. So one resource, our book that we have, Your Human Design, we really like to walk you through. If you've never heard of human design before, that book can be an amazing guide because we literally start with, here's how you get your chart. Here's the different elements on your chart. Here's what they mean. And we kind of go step by step. But if you've pulled up your chart here, you'll see that you have this body graph, an image that kind of looks like a body that has these 9 different shapes or 9 different energy centers. So these are your energy centers, just like your chakras, the same kind of concept of these centers, these wheels that spin and that take in the energy from the world around you, process that energy within, and then put that energy out. So if you're looking at your body graph, you can see out of these 9 centers, most likely some of your centers will be white and then some will be colored in. So if you have a colored in center, that means your energy is defined there. This is a place where you are consistently putting out your specific frequency and kind of conditioning or way showing or teaching the people around you with your specific frequency. Now, the centers you have that are white, these are places that are undefined or open, where you are taking in the energy of the world around you and processing the energy of others, learning from others, being conditioned by others in your own being. So almost all of us have a mixture of places where we're defined and undefined, places where we're here to teach our way and our frequency, and places that we're here to learn and empathetically pick up from other people. So in that way, we all have that reflector side of us. Any center that you have that's white, like for you, Julie, you have your emotional centers open. So you're extremely empathetic to other people's emotions. You pick up those emotions and feel them in your own body. You have an undefined G center. So like Shayna was saying before, you're extremely empathetic to other people's life path and passions and purpose. And you also have an undefined, completely open ego/heart center. So you can really take in and feel other people's self-worth and if they're healthy or not in all of those areas. So the magic of having this undefined open center where you are empathetic is that you can discern what is healthy in other people. So it's almost like you can really be a healer for others in that realm. And then the places that you have defined, you're really here to share your gifts in that area and to really be a leader there. So you can kind of look and see which the different centers are and where are the places where you're really defined or undefined. That can be an amazing place to start. And then also, when you're looking at these categories, you'll see your type, and you're either one of those 5 types that we talked about before. Underneath that, you'll see your strategy, which is the strategy that goes with that type that we also talked about before. Using your strategy is a practice that helps you kind of optimize your energy flow, that helps you create ease in the way that you're exchanging energy with others. So it's so important to be actually practicing that and embodying it. And that's one of the things that we love about human design. It's not only a tool for self reflection, it's also a navigation system. It's a daily practice that helps you come into alignment with your energy. So, following that strategy daily is an amazing thing to start experimenting with. And then you'll also see your inner authority. And this is your decision making process. And there's 8 different ones. And this is really helping you access your body's unique form of intuition. So, as you were saying before, we all have intuition in our bodies. And there is kind of a slightly different process for accessing that intuition in a way that's reliable for us. So, this is where this inner authority comes in. So I, for example, have emotional authority, which is really common. About 50% of the population has emotional authority, where it's important for them to sleep on big decisions, to give themselves at least 24 hours up to a week to really come to a neutral place and then be able to access their truth about this big decision. And for those people, their leading question is, when I am neutral and I think about doing this thing, will it make me happy? Right? This emotional realm, it's all about happiness. And when you feel that warmth, those warm emotions in your body, that's your intuition telling you that this thing is aligned for your unique life path, that this decision is going to align you with your purpose. And if you don't feel those warm emotions, if you feel like it's a no in your body with that inner authority, that's your body telling you that this thing is off track for you, right? So it's so powerful to know that this body intuition that's here to guide us, that's here to guide us down our life path, it might not always make sense to your mind. And we have been so conditioned to analyze every single important life decision, but our mind is not here to make our important life decisions for us. Our mind is here to observe the world around us. Our mind is here to remember, to quantify data, to create ideas to share. Our mind is amazing, but it's not here to guide us down our life path. Our body's wisdom is the thing that is really connected to our true purpose, that is connected to what's going to be aligned for us. So, just kind of to give some contrast here, you, Julie, have sacral authority, which is another one of the more common decision making processes. So, for people with sacral authority, you are here to make your important, big life decisions spontaneously. In the moment, you're able to really feel your gut being like, hell yes or hell no. And it's this feeling of the engine turning on, everything in your body having energy and excitement. Like it's just like, let's do it, right? Or if it's anything less than that, it's a no for now. And that's really how sacral authority works. It's either a hell yes or a hell no. And that mediocre middle ground is a no for now. And we're not taught to think that. We're taught if you can do something, you should. We're taught that if it's not bad, it's good and you should just go for it and see how it goes. But for those with sacral authority, you're really waiting till you get that 100% hell yes gut feeling in your body. And that's going to be the thing that's really aligned with your life path. And your mind might be like, am I crazy? This doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't see how this is going to play out. So, for all of us, following our inner authority, following this sacred body to intuition wisdom is both an act of empowerment and also deep surrender, because our mind can't see the unfolding and our mind is wanting that certainty, wanting that security, but our body is telling us, have faith, surrender, trust in your life path, and, trust in your intuition. That is really going to be the thing that liberates you and aligns you with everything else. So following that strategy and authority, those are the big two sacred practices with human design. And if you can start experimenting with those, all of the other amazing and beautiful things in your energy will naturally come into their highest expression. You will naturally align with the rest of your gifts, with your life purpose, without even really trying. If you're focusing on using your energy correctly and navigating life with both your strategy and authority. So that's what we really like to offer up for people, is that human design is an experiment. We're not saying it's real. We're not saying it's true. We're not saying any of that. What we're saying is, here's this information. Go ahead and experiment and see how you feel. See if it makes you feel like more of yourself, more empowered. The question for us is human design meaningful for you? Is it helpful for you? And for us, it's been the most meaningful and helpful and empowering tool. And that's why we feel so excited to be able to share it with other people and to see what other people feel from their experiment.
Hey, beautiful you, it's Julie. I'm just pausing for a moment because I want to share, in case you don't have this yet, I am going to encourage you to get your hands on my tool set to design your best life. It is free. Here's the copy. And it is pretty darn amazing, if I may say so myself. It is a 25-page guidebook. There are 7 specific practices, one for each day of the week, that are going to help you really to design your best life, to work on your mindset, on your mindfulness practices, designing your day very specifically. I'll show you here. I have a gorgeous tracking system that is all about how you align your values with how you're spending your time. And there's so much more. There's also a little extra free gift in there. I won't tell you what it is, but definitely make sure you get this for you, for your friends, whomever. It is free. Just go to juliereisler.com/toolset to get your copy. And would love to hear, what is your favorite tool out of the 7? Which one did you resonate most with? There is also an audio track in there as well. I've shared one of my quick grounding meditations. So I hope you pick it up. juliereisler.com/toolset. It's free. It's for you. I've used these tools with hundreds of clients and my coaching students, and I use them with myself. So I hope they help you to be your Youest You. All right, back to the show. There is so much so much wisdom in just all of what's been said here so far. One thing you said that I actually want to just highlight, you said this earlier, is just to remember that each of us, just like our thumbprint or fingerprint is unique, no one has the same human design. And you have to do it to see how intricate it is. And I found that to be so powerful and so beautiful, to really get, like, if we were all able to at least play with this, because I'm hearing kind of under that experiment is playing with this and having fun with it and experimenting and trying it on, there's a collective wisdom. There's another level of consciousness, of energy, of authenticity that would be unlocked. I just dabbling a little enough to know, like, what you're saying, for so many of us that are so conditioned to just feel like, well, wait a minute, my mind is not on board. I shouldn't do that. And I can share, when I decided to leave my corporate day job, I was a single mom at the time. I had just ended a marriage. I was just finishing a master's degree in health and wellness coaching. Like, none of this made sense. I literally I'm getting like a tingling on my head as I say this. I feel like my body is like, we were all into it. Your brain was freaking out. And I just kept feeling it was a hell yes to do this work. And people were loving and kind of supportive, but also like, that is cray cray, Julie. What are you thinking? And I just had this, it just was a definite, no, I have to do this. There's no question.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, and then I really want to hear your thoughts too, Shayna, on this. What you said, Dana, about this is really important. I want to reiterate this. And it's not just, I think, whether you have a sacral authority or not, if it's not a full yes, like if it's a mediocre no, I love how you said that, like a tepid, lukewarm no, it's a no for now. And that has taken me years to honor that. That's a big difference than how we are. Frankly, a lot of women are conditioned to like, oh, you should do it, be nice, try it, give it a,
Yeah.
it's just, it doesn't work to do it that way. So anyhow, yeah.
Yeah, no, and taking your power back looks like saying no to anything that's mediocre.
Mm.
Because when you say yes to those things, you leak your energy. You overextend yourself, you burn yourself out, and you can fall more into people pleasing than you should. And so saying no to anything that's like, I could. It's it's whatever. That is powerful. And we think that, oh, it doesn't matter. Like it wasn't a no, so I'll do it. But that's honestly one of the first places to look. And, the second part of human design is once you understand your type and your energy and how you make decisions, then you can look up or have understanding of how you're different from your family, from your friends, from your coworkers. And it gives you this acceptance of other people's differences as well. Because often without awareness, we come from this place of wanting to help other people, loving other people, and saying, this is how I make decisions. So you should sleep on it, or you should trust your gut. And it's coming from a place of love and wanting to help people. But if that person is designed to sleep on a decision and you tell them to trust their gut, you're actually pulling them from their truth, and vice versa. So having understanding of how you're different then allows you to say, oh, actually for my husband or for my child, they're designed to use their voice and talk about a decision to understand their truth, which is the authority that I have. And so let me ask them some questions and get them talking. And then that way they can see their truth versus saying, trust your gut. Cause I heard that my whole life. And I'm like, I've never in my life felt a gut feeling ever. Like, I don't even know what that could feel like in my body. And so having this understanding just gives you so much more acceptance and freedom and liberation for yourself and others to really hold space for how we're all different. So when we talk about that like collective consciousness and raising the vibration of the planet, it really is starting with yourself, understanding how you're different, and then extending that acceptance and compassion and understanding to other people. And I'm so excited for when we can say, oh, no, I have sacral authority, or, oh, I have emotional authority or splenic authority. There's 8 different ones. And people to be like, oh, okay, great. So we'll circle back next week, or, okay, let's talk this out and see what you feel. It's so powerful.
That is such a great point. This is going to sound nuts, but about 5 years ago, I had this intuition to come up with these 4 intuitive types, which really are very connected to what you're saying. And the point was that not all of us feel it in the gut. Shayna, can you share? Because I think this is really important. I know we may not get into all 8, but it sounds like the 3 of us have different
Yeah.
authorities. And what is did you say splenic? Is that yours?
No, so mine is G center authority. And so this is all about internally, I just have a lot of mumbo jumbo kind of swirling thoughts, and I can be mulling over things internally. But when I speak, it becomes linear where I can understand what it is that I'm processing. So soundboarding, having somebody I can bounce things off of and just talk, talking to myself in the car, talking to the universe, just letting myself speak out loud helps me to process so much faster and hear what it is that I'm wanting. I also have this question of, is this on my path? And it's this feeling from my G center, which is the diamond shape when you're looking at the body graph in the center of your chest, where your soul is, like this feeling of, is this on my path? Or does this feel somehow like a parallel path or like a fork in the road? And it's not bad. It just doesn't feel like it's on my path. That's kind of my leading question. And so with the 8 different authorities, right, there's emotional authority like Dana has of sleeping on a decision, making sure you're emotionally neutral. Will this make me happy? Then there's sacral authority, which is what you have, Julie, of really feeling that gut feeling, this hell yes, hell no in the moment. Then there's splenic authority, which is once again very present, but it's a little bit more subtle. And you have a really defined spleen as well. So this is that intuition, that those instincts of it just feels right or it feels wrong. And asking the question of, am I sure? Pulls you into your mind and you're like, well, I don't know. Am I sure? And why am I sure? And what are all the pros and cons? But really getting back into the present moment in your body of, okay, does this feel right? And a lot of times, so you will really resonate with this because you have such a defined spleen. It's this feeling of, I don't know why, it just feels right. And that's what you're talking about with leaving your job and your marriage and changing your life so radically of like, it's just undeniable knowing. And of course, your gut feeling being connected to that, right? And then we get into the more rare authorities like G Center, which is what I have, speaking out loud. And then there's ego projected and ego manifested. And this is coming from the ego center of, is this worthy of me? Like, what's in it for me? And this is where you're designed to be enlightenedly selfish and really say like, okay, for manifestors using your voice to just blurt out whatever's coming up and bouncing off of other people, like what's in it for me? And is this going to serve my business or this product or whatever? And as a projector, really asking like, is this serving me? And when you make decisions that are best serving you, that actually, because of how your energy set up, is going to best serve your community, your family, your friends, anyone else that's connected to that decision. And then there's mental/environmental authority is what we call it. But when you look at your chart, if you're a projector with this, it's going to say inner authority, none. But if you're a projector, then you have this mental environmental authority. And this is all about making decisions, actually starting with your mind, writing everything out, weighing all the pros and cons, really getting everything there mentally, and then setting that aside and going to your favorite environments that feel healthy and good to you, like your favorite lookout, your favorite coffee shop, your favorite spot in your home or your yard. Cultivating places that feel healthy and clear and good for you is important with this authority. So do the mental process, set it aside, go to those environments, and you'll feel in your body still this dropped in clarity, knowing of it just feels right in my body. And if you don't have that, go back to the drawing board, look at everything, then go back to your environments until you get that clarity. And then the last one is lunar authority. And this is all about giving yourself that 28-day cycle to really feel through each day. What is my truth telling me today? Letting that shift and change until the end of that month, you've kind of cycled through all the different authorities, because this is only for reflectors who are so empathetic. And then at the end of that cycle, you'll feel this, it just feels right or it just feels wrong, like this knowingness in your body. And if you don't have that, it's actually about, okay, let me give myself more time and really cycle through this. So this is with big decisions. Reflectors don't need to use this for, do I want to, work on this project, or do I want to start this thing, if it's not a big, important decision to them. So there's just like, that's a quick, brief rundown of the 8 different authorities, but this part of human design is so helpful. It's like, oh my gosh, I wish that I knew this, because I was trying to talk out loud to my friends and family as a child and in college. And the messaging that I would receive was like, just figure it out on your own. Like, why do you need other people? Like, you're needy. You're really dependent on others. And I was just trying to soundboard. Like, I didn't need their opinion. I just needed to let my voice go without talking to myself like a crazy person. So, but now I do that obviously freely. I embrace that, but it's so impactful. And once again, the same message of, I wish I knew this when I was younger.
The thing I love so much about all of what you're saying is it just helps to get a depth of awareness and appreciation and compassion and love and honoring of our individual gifts. And sacred, I would put in sacred wiring / the way we're designed, human design.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating. And I bet everyone listening, and I don't know if this is a question you ask, but it helps me sometimes to look and see, when did I go against my energy? So like, when have you gone against your energy? Even if you haven't taken this the human design yet? And what did you notice and feel? Like what showed up around that versus when have you naturally gone, in sync with your energy? And there's no question that those are night and day. Like I now have done a ton of research on myself because just done enough time where I was like, oh, that does not work. It just does not work to ignore my intuition. It just doesn't. It is no
Yes.
bueno for anybody. Um, to
Yes.
ask though, like that experiment that you were all talking about to play and experiment with it.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I think that we are all our own spiritual teacher, especially as we are moving into this new paradigm of existence. Like we are all our own healer. And it's beautiful to receive support from other people and to receive guidance from other people. But at the end of the day, you are the one that has always had the answers and that always will. And there's so much liberation in being able to build that relationship of self trust. And like, as you're talking, I can think of a million times before I had this permission for myself where someone would invite me to do something and I could feel that they really thought I should. And I could feel that it was something that really made sense because I'd be using my degree or I'd be making my parents proud. Or, there's all of these reasons why it seemed like I should absolutely do it. I should do it and doing those things. And then you're there in the moment and you just feel like this shell of yourself. You feel like my mom is proud of what I'm doing and she can tell her friend on the phone that I'm doing this thing, but I'm here in this moment actually living this experience and it feels wrong. It feels off. It feels unfulfilling. And on the other side of that, when we really are trusting our body's intuition and doing things that are real for us, at first it might shock other people a little bit. We might get that feedback of like, okay, what you're doing sounds amazing, but are you crazy? Like, do you really think that this can work? And when you have this level of self love and self confidence because you've really gone in and understood who you are as a unique individual, how to really trust yourself and access your truth, what your life purpose is, and you have that kind of foundation of self knowledge, self acceptance, and self love, you build this confidence where it's like, I might be breaking people's hearts in the beginning a little bit, or I might be kind of surprising people who have known me from this, no boundary kind of place. But when you actually follow your truth in that way, you show up in that moment and you feel like,
Mm,
this is me. You feel
mm,
your soul shining through. You feel your authenticity healing others and being a beacon that liberates other people to be their authentic self too. And it's so funny because you're the one that's going to feel it internally when it's right or when it's wrong. And it actually is the greatest gift that you can give other people to radically be yourself in this life. And, I think for so many of us, talking about this new paradigm, talking about this global shift that's happening that we can all feel so much, I think it can be overwhelming sometimes. Like, what do I do to help this whole situation? Like, it's the whole world and I'm just me. I used to feel really disempowered by that. Like, what can I actually do? But you listening to yourself and being who you are with courage, that is the most important and profound thing that you can do because you will be able to be this frequency that you came here to be. You'll play the role that you came here to play. And not only is that helping the world in a way that you're really designed to or meant to, that's going to be a part of the collective harmony, it's also making it easier for those around you. So I would argue that this, just focusing on your own internal world and really being honest with yourself and following through and being brave in that realm is actually your greatest doorway to being able to change and shift the planet.
mm. Gorgeous. It just hit me because I've been really talking about this idea of being what I call your You-est You for a long time. And I'm like, wow, your human design is actually a roadmap to being your You-est You, which really is your most authentic, connected, aligned self. And, as I was listening to what you just said, it just occurred to me this reminder, which I know pulling from other ancient modalities like Kabbalah, like the I Ching, like, these practices that are and studies and I mean intricate, gosh, I just think of meridian points, I mean, are beyond what I can
Mhm.
fully comprehend. One of the things that's true with all of that is the idea that we are way powerful than we understand, especially when we are plugged in to our highest source and to aligned to our energy and our light. And so, that reminder. This is a different focus, but I've been working through A Course in Miracles, right? And the whole point is to be that light, right, of the world, that we each are that. Don't underestimate the power that you are. You listening, all of us here. And this really is a way to get in the most like plumb line aligned, synced up way with your energy. And I just had this like flash intuition of like, oh my God, human design, that is part of how you become that is being your Youest You, is learning about that, being that. So this is beyond connected. Like it's just incredible. And I know your book, Your Human Design, that is a great place for people to start. Before we wrap, I always ask this question, I call them heart flares. Maybe that's because of my own intuition type. I don't know, but I always think of these like, your heart has something to say and we didn't get to it. And she's like, I got a flare. So I like to ask, are there any heart flares for either of you? And just to remind everyone, where we will have in the show notes, but where we can all find you and take this human design test and anything else that is on the horizon for the awesome work you guys are doing.
Yes, I love that. As you said, heart flare, I felt one come to me. And, one thing I've been thinking about a lot is in this self-improvement realm, I put in quotes, we are always thinking about how we can better ourselves and all the things that we need to do and being our life purpose and reading all the books. And it's like this very, almost like fight or flight, the flight side of like, okay, I have to be perfect. I have to keep improving myself. But I wanted to say that actually the path of rest, the path of being gentle on ourselves, the path of giving ourselves grace, that is maybe the most important thing that we can do to do our life purpose in this lifetime. So I just wanted to say that was kind of my heart flare that came to me. If you're listening to this and you're feeling inspired and you're like, okay, I want to be my purpose and I want to be my authentic self and I want to heal the world, amazing. Take that energy with you. And also know that that path is going to include spaciousness and rest and openness and gentleness and kindness and self-compassion. That's the other flip side of that coin. And there's also so many juicy nuggets of wisdom within human design about that. So I just wanted to say that. And, if you're feeling excited to dive in with us with DayLuna, we have a ton of different ways that you can dive in and explore your human design. We have a lot of different types of offerings because we know that everyone learns differently. So if you're someone who really likes to read, we have our book, Your Human Design, that's available anywhere books are sold. You can find it on Amazon. You can find it on Barnes & Noble or Books A Million. That can be an amazing place to start where you can really just dedicate, 5 minutes or 10 minutes to reading about your design in your own peace and quiet. I think that can be an amazing place to start. We also have personalized ritual kits that include a booklet with your human design chart and kind of a rundown of your energy and how you can apply all of this stuff with beautiful tools, meditation tools to help you kind of integrate that. So those are the products that you can find to help you learn on your own. And you can find our ritual kits on our website, daylunalife.com. Now, if you're someone who loves listening to podcasts, if you're listening to this, you're probably one of those people. We also have a podcast, DayLuna Human Design Podcast, where we offer a bunch of free content. You can kind of look through the episodes and see the ones that apply to your chart to learn more there. We also have a lot of online videos where you can learn more about your channels. We have an entire human design reader training course, which we're super excited about. There's so many people we've been meeting recently that are just ready to learn the whole thing. They want to dive in. They want to know everything. They want to be able to look at their friends and family's charts. So if that's you, that can be an amazing place to really dive in and to learn about the entire system in all of its depth.
Yes.
Oh my
So
gosh. Thank you. Thank you.
there's a
Yeah. Shayna, take it
ton.
away.
Yeah, there's just a ton of different ways that you can dive into human design. And I think that the heart flare that really is coming up for me is empowerment. Like if you're in a place where you're feeling that you're not loving your job or your day-to-day experience, or you're feeling disempowered around anything in your life right now, finding empowerment in the small things that you can change is always going to be huge and make a big difference. So that looks like tuning into this present moment. What's actually in front of you? How does your body actually feel? That also looks like taking a moment to say, what is really fascinating or what's been really draining me? There's so many different things as you dive into learning your human design that you can see specifically based on your chart. But this moment right now, you are empowered to make a subtle shift in your energy and find more alignment, find more peace or success or satisfaction. So I just kind of, that was the main thing coming through of you don't have to be in the perfect place. You don't have to reach that level of success or that perfect partner or that perfect job before you can start focusing on your alignment. It can be right now in this present moment. How are you empowered to just make a subtle shift?
Beautiful. I just heard both the importance of rest and spaciousness and empowerment and being in that present moment. And I couldn't agree more. I cannot thank you both enough. This has been so delicious, this conversation, and you clearly are living in alignment with your human design and your energy centers. I can feel it with my emotional center. That is very in tune. And just appreciate you both and taking that plunge, following your highest path. And just thank you for the gems, the wisdom today. And I want to thank you, my beautiful listener, for being on this path with us. And we'll make sure to have all of this information in the show notes with your info, Dana and Shayna. I love saying your names together. I could do that all day long. And I just want to thank all of us. I think we're all here because I know my beautiful listeners and you and those that are tuning in to really be to tune into our highest potential and to our greatest gifts, and to do that with grace and compassion, and just appreciate you and what you're doing. Thank you.